Hello there, Watson here. A little bit of a different one, but I've 100% completed another game, so as always, let's talk about it. So, before we start, this game has been gifted to me by GameMill Entertainment, and it is a code for Goosebumps Terror of Little Creek. Goosebumps was developed by PHL Collective and published by GameMill. So, Goosebumps is a horror title. It's based on the books and the TV show of the same name by R.L. Stine. It's horror for teens, basically, which is why it's a little bit of a different game. Normally, when I do these 100% completions, it's normally an RPG because that's generally what my channel is. But I also do games for Outright Games and GameMill as well. So here we are. So it's kind of more of an adventure style game than horror. You can see where the horror is with the game. For adults, there kind of isn't much in the way of horror, but for the little ones, which the game is aimed at, that's the target audience. You can see where the horror is. So it's not overly bad if you're going at it, looking at it as a parent. It's basically a kind of 3D point and click. As such, you kind of need to get specific items to progress to the next area, which you kind of generally do with a point and click. Going around and finding like a crank or trying to solve a puzzle and then trying to figure out like what to do with the item from the puzzle. Most of the time it kind of tells you what to do. There was one point in particular where I kind of got a bit lost. You will see that in the full Let's Play that I've done on the channel already. Kind of trying to figure out what it was that I was actually supposed to do. There was a puzzle that was in a fountain. Getting words mixed up already. There was a puzzle in a fountain where you had to kind of look at the coins that were in the fountain, and it wasn't kind of readily given information as to that's what you needed to do. If I'm going at that as an adult and kind of getting confused by it, I suspect children probably definitely would do. In general, you kind of potter around the town. There's not really much in the way of direction. You do have a map. It does show people up on the map. But it's kind of a bit confusing as to where to go. There's lots of locked gates, which can only open from the other side. So yeah, I can see it being a little bit confusing for its target audience. Generally, I didn't encounter any sort of glitches or anything like that in the game. The only thing that I found difficult as an achievement hunter is one of the particular achievements for the gnome. But I'll go on to those in a minute when we go on to the achievements. The voice acting was okay. The controls, as I said, perfectly fine. For the type of game that it is, looking at it as a game, it's a perfectly serviceable game. There's no glitches. The ambience is okay. There's sort of, other than, as I said, kind of getting confused with some areas and what to do and whatnot, it was okay. It was a fairly enjoyable sort of 3 to 4 hour game, which, as I said, you're looking at it from its target audience. It's based on Goosebumps. It's like playing one of the books or experiencing like one of the episodes in real time. So I can see fans of Goosebumps sort of at that age group enjoying the game. But yeah, as an achievement hunter, we also talk about the achievements on this channel. So let's talk about the achievements for Goosebumps. So the Goosebumps achievements, there are 15 achievements altogether for a 1000 gamer score. I assume it's like a similar case for trophies. I don't know what the trophies look like, so I assume there's probably a platinum trophy for it for people that are interested in those. But Xbox achievements wise, we start off with what curfew, find a way into the library. This is story related. It's the first thing you do in the game. You kind of have to crawl through an open window to get into the library. History 101. Oh. History 101 is finding 5 lore drops. These are basically throughout the town. There are various different newspapers that you can read that'll give you some information and history about the area. I assume it may go into detail about like other bits of lore within the Goosebumps kind of universe. I'm not a big Goosebumps fan myself, so I wouldn't know. I've never read any of the books. I played another one of the Goosebumps games, but other than that, it's never been my thing. But there are various different newspapers that started around. There must have been a good 30 or 40 different newspaper articles that you could pick up to gain different types of lore. So that's really easy to find. Armed and Dangerous is finding the slingshot. There's a small puzzle that you need to do to get the slingshot. Or was it a puzzle? No, it wasn't. I'm lying. The puzzle was just kind of on a desk in the shed. Once you find the slingshot, you can then get a bit of target practice nearby. That's the puzzle that I was thinking of. So that's story related again. Let's talk to Officer Pickett. Officer Pickett is a recurring character in the game. He's just kind of in areas to show that you're in like the right place. Just talked to him the first time. I probably spoke to him about 5 or 6 times during the game. So safety first, use a health item. There are plenty of health items throughout the game. Energy bars, first aid kits, and that sort of stuff. You're bound to use one eventually. If not, then you can just kind of use one from your inventory anyway. Fortune teller, use a crystal ball at least 3 times. So on the map, you'll see like a crystal ball icon, or if you find a crystal ball, like during your travels. If you talk to the crystal ball, it will give you a hint as to what to do next. It'll be a little bit cryptic as to what it is you need to do next. But talking to one 3 times will get you the achievement. It can be the same hint that it gives as well. I talked to it twice and it gave me the same hint and then it popped. So you can just find one and talk to it 3 times. Defeat your small... Take that. Defeat your first small monster. There are plenty of small monsters around the game. You shoot them with your slingshot. There's like 3 sizes of small monster. Once you defeat them, they don't give you anything or anything like that, but you kind of makes it easier for you to travel through areas and stuff. Tomb Raider, find the haunted book. So the haunted book is story related. You have to find it to continue on the story. The book serves as a kind of key, I guess. You learn various different spells and stuff for the book, and it allows you to get into different areas and stuff. So, or you'll need to use it for like a puzzle. Scavenger, find all the pellet types for the slingshot. Technically, this is missable. If you're picking up all the pellets that you see around the game anyway, then you're bound to get this eventually. the final pellet type doesn't count towards this. There's a special pellet type right at the end of the game that doesn't count towards this. These are just the ones that you find during the game. I think there was 5 different ones altogether. There was strong pellet, smokescreen, noisemaker, firecracker. Maybe it was 4. I can't remember whether there was another one, but once you find all the pellet types, that'll pop. Shovel Master, dig up all the graves. For this, there is a area where you have to dig up graves to find medallions or something like that for a puzzle. I think it was like 8 graves in that area or something like that. There might have been less. Maybe it was 6. But there is another area by the main bridge. You'll see the bridge originally because it's blocking off the other side of the game. There's like a cop car on the bridge. It's kind of... There's a roof on the bridge. You kind of can't miss it. There's a lock gate near that you can open up with the graveyard key. And in there is another 3 graves for you to dig up. There aren't any medallions on those graves, but there are 2 graves there that give you items. One of them is like pellets, and then the other one is a first aid kit. Those count towards digging up all the graves. So there's those 3, and then the area where you're digging up the medallions. I think there's another 6 or 7 in that area. Dig up all of those, and yeah, you'll get that achievement. The summoning, summon the Phantom and the Mummy. So this is again story related. You go to the theatre and summon the Phantom, and then you go to the library and summon the museum, and summon the Mummy. Little Bugger, capture the Scarab. This is a puzzle within the game. There's a bit where you have to... There's a scarab running around the room and you have to catch the scarab. You basically shoot it with your slingshot, which will kill the scarab, and then you pick it up. And then the next achievements, right at the end of the game, there's a big gap, basically, between capturing the scarab and then the end of the game. There's like a lot of story-related stuff. Kind of... It would have been nice to have additional achievements for those sort of different bits. But yeah, you've got the 2 different endings, which we'll talk about in a sec. Hide and seek, hit a gnome with the slingshot. This achievement itself is missable, I believe. During the game, there are moments where the gnome will pop out of a bush, and if you get too close, it'll go back into the bush and you'll miss it. If you hit the gnome with the slingshot, it will drop an item. I got a first aid kit, so I assume it's probably similar. I've seen 3 areas where it pops up, and I believe it's related to the story. There was one in a bush near the church. There's one in a bush outside the library. And then there's one in a bush outside the original library entrance. They're the only 3 that I saw whilst I was playing the game. I don't have footage of me hitting a gnome with a slingshot. I did it in the second playthrough. But I assume there's probably like footage online by now. And then lastly is the other ending. So there's 2 endings to the story. There's the heroic ending and the monstrous ending. What the game asks you to do is to get rid of the 2 main monsters in the game, the Phantom and the Mummy. When you take out one of them, it will give you the option to either lay them to rest or absorb the power. If you choose to lay them both to rest, you get the heroic ending, and if you choose to absorb the power, you get the monstrous ending. The two very, very different endings. Now, there is a way to do it so that you can do them both in the same playthrough. I didn't. I just ran through the game again. It took like 2 hours. Basically, what I believe it is you set it up so that the Phantom and the Mummy are ready to be summoned, ready to be laid to rest, or whatever it is you're doing. You get them both set up so they're both in that position, and then you save. You play through the rest of the game. You should then be able to reload that save, I think. If not, you'd have to mess about with like cloud saves and stuff, which it's probably not worth doing. You probably just, quickly run through the game again a second time, which is what I did. But that's all the achievements. It's a really easy completion for completionists. Not many people have played it yet. But if you are an achievement hunter, then, as I said, it is an easy game to finish. What I want to do with these sorts of games is talk more about their suitability for children. As I said, this is based on Goosebumps. It's a teen horror series, so it's probably not necessarily... you're probably looking at sort of mid-primary school level. You sort of like 9 to 10-year-olds and up for this. There is some horror elements to it. There are some times where you might necessarily get a jump scare or something like that. The children might find the two main monsters a bit scary because they kind of chase after you. But other than that, I'd say that it's okay for most children to be able to play the game. But other than that, again, thank you GameMill for giving me a code for the game. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you made it to the end of the video. And I will see you again for another 100% completion very soon, as Outright Games are starting to get out all their games for the year, and I'll be getting some more for GameMill as well. So, see you very soon for more content.